Vince Gilligan's new show Pluribus came out on Apple TV just the other day, and I honestly wish that I could say that it is amazing and that Vince has done it again and already created a modern masterpiece, but in reality, I'm not exactly sure what he's up to with this new show. Now, I want to make it very clear that I'm not calling the show bad, and this video is not a critique, and it is definitely not a negative review. I simply want to share my thoughts, and maybe some of you guys can help me understand this show. But before we get into that, please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know what you think of this show in the comments because I am genuinely very curious. The first episode starts with some astronomers discovering a signal from outer space that ends up being a recipe for some kind of virus, but not a virus, that connects people's minds and makes them all happy somehow. The outbreak starts in this lab in Maryland where a mouse, I think it's a mouse, maybe it's a rat, but I'm getting more mouse vibes, bites one of the scientists who then starts tweaking and geeking before the virus, but not a virus, takes over. From there, it spreads rapidly, infecting our main character Carol's friend Helen, who also starts tweaking and geeking outside the bar. Carol tries to get her to a hospital, but surprise, everybody there is also tweaking and geeking. For some reason, these people tweak and geek much longer than the initial scientists who got infected, and I'm not sure if there's a reason for this or if it's just kind of contrived so that Carol and the audience can get more shock value, I guess. Anyway, their only goal that we know of so far is to infect everybody, but a few people are immune for whatever reason, including our main character, Carol Sturka, a very passionate author who specializes in the genre of
mindless crap.
Why she or the few other people in the world who are immune, we don't know yet, but the first episode follows Carol dealing with the apocalypse, and it is pretty interesting. Some people are calling it the best pilot episode ever in television, but that is a bit of an overreaction if you ask me. Anyway, some people just die when they get infected. I'm not sure how because it's not actually a virus, but Helen is among the deceased, which just makes Carol go even crazier. And the second episode follows Carol meeting with a few other people who are immune, but it turns out they are all content with the apocalypse. Carol initially assumes that they are, normal people like her, but it turns out they are already not too far off from just being infected, which is really one of my biggest issues with the show so far because it's completely unexplained so far, and I'm just like, are these not normal people that had meaningful relationships? Like, do they not realize that they've actually lost everything? It just doesn't really make any sense. Like, am I supposed to believe just for the sake of the story that Carol is the only normal one, even though these people are also not infected? Like, I know you could say that society has just gone so far downhill that even if this did happen in real life, there would be people like this that aren't infected but still act like this, but I just don't think that's realistic at all, and it just doesn't make sense. But, I don't know. Anyway, one of them, this guy, makes the most of the situation, flying Air Force One and getting a bunch of hot, mindless women to accompany him. And this guy is just like me. I mean, no, this is messed up. I would never do this. This is like, this is pretty, But anyway, like I said, the goal of the infected is to figure out how to infect the immune people so all of humanity can be a hive mind, pretty much, and everybody can be quote-unquote happy. So they do anything that the immune people want, but when the immune people lash out at them, Carol, they start tweaking and geeking again. Back to the episode though. Carol is pretty upset that the only regular people left aren't actually regular people, so she decides to go home until changing her mind at the very last minute and getting run over by Air Force One. I'm just kidding. The plane, it stops and the episode ends. And after finishing those first two episodes, I was, like I said, not sure what Vince was up to. I was just confused because I don't see the value or purpose of this show yet. Breaking Bad obviously has themes and messages and ideas that make it as great as it is, not to mention the fact that it just tells an amazing, brilliantly written story. But so far, Pluribus doesn't have that, at least not that I can see. Breaking Bad's pilot instantly made Walter and Jesse likable characters that I cared about and I wanted to see what they would do next, but Carol is just not like that at all. Am I supposed to like her and care about her and her role in the story because she is, just a regular person? I mean, that's all her character is right now. She's just a regular person in a world full of irregular people, which is a fine concept, but they didn't do much with it in these first two episodes. Carol acts as any normal person would in this scenario, and if you ask me, it is making for a pretty uninteresting story right now. I just feel like there's nothing special about Carol. There's no, personality or no motives or anything that are making her a character worth being the center of a Vince Gilligan show, of all things. But listen, I'm not that dense. I still see what this show is trying to get at. It's about our world today and how it's changing, how people are changing for the worse, especially with the rise of AI and the descent of independent thinking and ability, which is great. It's great that Vince is making a show about this topic. I call him Vince like I know him. But anyway, it's important to acknowledge the negative effects that AI will have and already has had on our society. But if that's the whole premise of the show, I don't think it's enough, because he could have made the same point in a single interview, and he kind of already has when he said this. So for now, let me just end with a question. Is Pluribus just trying to make a statement about the modern world and AI and conformity, or are we actually going to get a brilliant story with amazing writing on the same level as Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul? Let me know what you think.